Mean of ungrouped data. What is mean? Mean is average value of data. For example, I have got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This is the data. So mean of this data is equal to x bar, and that is average of these 5 points. That is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 and divided by number of points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 points. So when you calculate this, this is mean. So 9 and 10 and 15. So this is 15 divided by 5. So mean of this data is 3. And this is ungrouped data. You will understand what is group data after discussing group data. But right now you understand that this is ungrouped data. So general formula for mean of ungrouped data is sum of all values of data. So see here, I have 5 values of the data. You have made a sum of this. So numerator is sum of all values of data divided by sum of number of observations. You see here, number of observations were 5. So I had divided it by 5. So in general, f1 x1 plus f2 x2 plus so on, and last is fn xn divided by f1 plus f2 plus f3 plus so on plus fn. This is the general formula, and this I can write numerator as summation. This symbol is summation of fi xi. So summation of product of frequency and the observation divided by summation of frequencies. That is sum of all the frequencies. This is sum of products of frequency and the observation. So x1, x2 up to xn is observational data, and f1, f2 up to fn is the frequency. Now let us say 2 comes 3 times. 2 comes 3 times in this. So this is 3, this is 4. So frequency, now what is the frequency of this observation? Frequency is nothing but how many number of times that observation occur. So this one occurs only 1 time. So frequency of this one. 2 occurs 3 times. So the frequency of 2 is 3. 3 occurs 1 time. So frequency of 3 is 1. 4 occurs 1 time. Frequency of 4 is 1. So likewise, frequency means nothing but it is how many number of times the same observation is repeating. That is called a frequency. So with that, let me go for understanding mean of group data. What is group data? Suppose we have got some data as 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5, then 6, 7, 8, 9, like that. So if I am grouping between 0 to 5, and then second one is 5 to 10. So you see how many are there with 0 to 5? Actually there are, so I'll start with 0. Actually there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 observations, but 5 is not considered. So only 5 are there. So in this group, this is one group of data, this is second group of data. There are 5 number of observations, 0 to 4, and 5 is not put in this. 5 is put in the next one, the next higher class. So here it will be 5 to 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here there are 5 number of observations. So this is how. So let us take an example of class of 35 to 40. Now, or another class 40 to 45. So this 40 is called the lower limit of class LL, and 45 is called upper limit of class, that is UL. And you have to understand what is called as class mark, and it is denoted as XI, and it is equal to upper limit plus lower limit divided by 2, or it is average of upper limit and lower limit. So by direct method, mean is given as same formula as we had seen earlier, summation of Fi xi divided by summation of Fi. So this is the formula for calculating mean by direct method. So you have to know this formula, and you have to understand what is class mark xi, which is the average of upper limit and lower limit of the class. So the next one is mean by assume mean method. See, the mean by this method is given as x bar equal to a plus summation of fi di divided by summation of fi. Now two things have got added compared to the earlier formula. First is a is increased, or a is added compared to this one, and the second thing is instead of xi there is something called as di. And let us see what is this a and what is di. Fi you already know, it is the frequency. Now a is nothing but assume mean, and a is assume mean, but nothing like say it is central value of class mark, that is odd number of sorry it is central value of class mark if the number of observations are odd. If number of observations are odd, then it is central value of observation, and if it is even, then it is any one value among the central. Let us say you have got class mark, and it is, let us say there is 2, 5, 6, 8 and 9. This is the central value. So it is this xi which is considered as a. And let us say you have 2, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So here these are the two values at the center, 6 and 7. You take any one, either you take 6 or you take 7. Most of the time it is better to take lower value because that will reduce your calculation. So this is how assume mean a is taken. Then what is deviation di? It is the observation xi minus the mean, assume mean, that is called as deviation. How it deviates from mean, that is called as deviation. So you already know this formula, d is equal to xi minus a. So this is the formula, this is di and this is a. And the last is step deviation method. The mean in step deviation method is x bar is equal to a plus h summation of fiui divided by summation of fi. Now here a is there as before. Additional thing is there is h and ui. Earlier there was di, now there is ui, and of course h is there. Now what is done? H is called class size. For example, if class is 40 to 45, then class size is H is equal to 45 minus 40, that is upper limit minus lower limit, that is equal to 5. And UI is defined as class deviation divided by height h. That is class deviation divided by class height. That is ui. And a you already know, fi you already know. So these are the three formula used for calculating mean of group data. And in this we have to understand some points. The first point to note down is when DI has common factor, use step deviation method. That is common factor, if it is there, then it is easy to divide it. So if DI has common factor, for example, if DI is 0, 15, minus 15, then 30, minus 30, 45, minus 45, in all this you see it is getting divided by 15. 15 is a common factor. If that is there, then use step deviation. The mean obtained by three methods, 1, 2 and 3 are same. You remember this, and you must have solved some problems from the textbook. If you use direct method, if you use assume method, if you use step method for the same data, you will find that the mean value obtained is same in all these calculations. Now, the mean of ungrouped data is exact value and mean of group data is approximate value. So you remember this point very well. So this is ungrouped data calculation. If you use this formula for ungroup, you will get one mean, and if you use these three formulas, you will get different mean. So the first method, that is direct or for grouped data, ungrouped data, it is the exact value, whereas for group data it is approximate value. And if xi and fy are sufficiently small, use direct method, and if xi and fi are large numbers, go for other two methods, that is step deviation method and assume mean method. Now you understood what is group data. So now we are calculating the mean of group data. There are different methods. One is direct method. You use this formula and get the answer, and you have to understand for group data what is called as class. Now for example, in the marks there is 5 to 10. This is called lower limit of the class. This is called class, and this is higher limit of or upper limit of this class. And class mark xi is average of lower limit and upper limit. So mode is that value which occurs most often. Meaning what? ज्याची फ्रिक्वेन्सी, ज्या व्हॅल्यूची फ्रिक्वेन्सी, ज्या ऑब्झर्वेशनाची फ्रिक्वेन्सी मॅक्झिमम असा, that is called the mode. That means it occurs most frequently. आता नंबर ऑफ मार्क्स धरूया आम्ही. कोणाक 5 पडल्या 25 पैकी, कोणाक 10 पडल्या, कोणाक 12 पडल्या, पण एक मार्क्स असा 15 ते मॅक्झिमम नंबर ऑफ स्टुडंटांक पडला. 15 marks are scored by maximum number of students. Okay, so that is called the mode. The value which occurs maximum number of times, that is called the mode. Mode is that value which occurs most often, that is occurring maximum number of times. Now there is something called as multimodal data. आता वो multimodal data म्हणजे किती सांगता तुमका. अशें धरूया, some 7 students got 15 marks. So frequency of 15 marks is 7, and 7 students have got 16 marks. That is frequency of getting 16 marks is 7 students. So the highest frequency is 7, and that is for two observation, 15 and 16. So 15 marks कितल्या जणांक मेळ्या? ते 7 student. And 16 marks, that also 7 student, and 7 is the highest frequency. 7 is highest frequency. And highest frequency so data जो असा, that is called as mode. So earlier I said 15 marks is secured by 10 students. That is maximum. So maximum frequency. So that time the mode was 15. Now here there are two observations. 15 and 16 occurring 7 times, but both are maximum times. So this, for this, mode is 7 for 15 and mode is 7 for 16. Now frequency is 7 for 15 and frequency is 7 for 16. So here mode is 15 and mode is 16. Here for this problem mode is 15 and for this problem mode is 16 and 15. So it has got two modes, 15 and 16. So this is called multimodal data. Multimodal data तुमका काढपाचो गरज ना. You have to just understand theory. Data having more than one value having same maximum frequency, that is called as multimodal data. For group data, what is the mode? There is a formula for mode of group data, and this formula you should know by heart. This is very, very important formula. You may be given some data and using this formula find all these parameters and calculate mode. Mode is given for group data as L plus F1 minus F0 divided by 2F1 minus F0. So remember F1 minus F0 असा नाही, हांगासर F1 minus F0 फक्त 2 frequency F1 हांग multiply करपाचे. Again minus F2 multiplied by H, that is the height of the class, that is called class size. So we will see what is all these things. So L is lower limit of modal class. This is M. This is lower limit of modal class. आम्ही पळोवया modal class म्हणजे कितें ते बी सांगता तुमका. आणि modal क्लासाचेर प्रॉब्लेमय आसा. I will solve that. You will understand it more better that time. H is the size of the class interval. तुम्ही जाणा height म्हणजे कितें जाणा size. Suppose class size असा 40 to 50 जाल्यार class असा जाल्यार 40 to 50 जर आसात जाल्यार class size असा पळय ती 50 minus 40, that is equal to class size. F1 is frequency of modal class. आता modal class खंयची ती सांगता तुमका. Now you just remember that frequency of modal class is F1 and F0 is frequency of class preceding the modal class. Modal क्लासाच्या पहिलीची जी frequency असा पळय पहिलीच्या क्लासाची ती F0 आणि F1 is frequency of class succeeding the modal class. Modal क्लासाच्या उपरांत after whichever comes the class that is called the succeeding class. That is frequency F2. And then now you have to understand what is modal class. So I will explain that with the help of example also. So modal class is equal to class with the maximum frequency. खंयच्या क्लासात maximum frequency असा, that class is selected as modal class. That class is selected as modal class. What is the difference between mean and mode? Now when I say mode, it is in group data. Mode of group data and mean of group data. Now first point is mode can be less than or more than or equal to mean. Anything can happen. Mean may be equal to mode. The mode may be greater than mean or mode can be lesser than mean. So this is one point you have to note down. The second point, what is mean? Mean is average value of all the data. Examples, marks obtained. So there are students who got the marks out of 10 as 2, 3, one has got 5, and one has got 7, and one has got 10. So number of students are 5. So it is average of all these marks. Extreme marks, extreme lower and extreme higher, and divided by number of students, you will get mean. So it is average of all the data. It is average of all the data. But mode is different. Mode is average value of modal class. Modal classan जितले data असा त्याचे average म्हटल्यार mode. That is average value of most frequently occurring data. Example, modal class of marks. So modal class, let's say 10 to 15 marks. So how many students are there who got 10 to 15 marks? And that is the highest number of students, that is frequency. So students are, let's say 7 in our above examples. If the students are 7, then average of these 7, so average of 7 students, average marks of 7 students is what is called as the mode in the modal class. Mode is average value within the class, within the modal class, and mean is average value of all the observations. That is the difference you have to understand between mode and mean. You see here, mode can be equal, less than, or more than. This is a point you remember. Actually, discussion naka. Mean जे असा पळय ते average of all the data. 5 जर observations असतात. So 5 observations are there. तर या extreme value including 2 and 10 याचं सगळ्यांचे average घेता पळय ताका mean म्हणटा. आणि मोड म्हणटा कित्याक modal class ज्याची frequency maximum असा. frequency maximum म्हणजे त्या क्लासान जास्तीत जास्त भुरगे असा मार्क्स घेतलेले भुरगे असा. That is frequency is maximum. So let us say the class is 10 to 15 marks. There are 7 number of students who obtain marks between 10 to 15, and that is 7 is the maximum frequency. Then these 7 students average marks जर काढले जाल्यार ताका mode म्हणप. So mode is the average within the modal class, and mean is the average of all the observations. Mode is average of observations within the modal class. Median of ungrouped data is given as, if n is the number of observations, it is number of observations or data, number of data. So median is n plus 1 divided by 2 if n is odd. I will solve many problems based on this formula in MCQ. If you find n as odd, then median is given as n plus 1 divided by 2. And if you find n as even, let us say here n is, example is 99. So in that case, median is equal to 99 plus 1 divided by 2. It is equal to 50. Median is 50th observation. Now, average of n by 2. Let again say, let n is equal to 100. Then n by 2 is 58 and n upon 2 plus 1, it is the 51st. 51st. So it is average of all this, average of 50th and 51st observation. So this is example of median of ungrouped data. Then median for group data is given by this formula. L plus n divided by 2 minus CF divided by F multiplied by H. So H you already know, F you already know frequency. So I will tell you. L is the lower limit of median class. I will tell you median class what it is. N is the number of observation. CF is cumulative frequency of class preceding median class. So cumulative frequency we will discuss tomorrow. Now just remember that it is cumulative frequency of previous class of modal class. Then F is the frequency of median class, not modal class, it is median class, and H is the class size. Then what is median? Median class is a class whose cumulative frequency is greater than or near to n divided by 2. It should be either greater or greater than n by 2 and near to n by 2. That is modal class. You have to understand graphical method how to find the mean. So for that what you have to do, you have to plot the graph of cumulative frequency versus upper limit of the class. आता फक्त इथलेच लक्षात घ्या, cumulative frequency on y-axis आणि upper limit of class on x-axis जो graph असा, that graph you have to plot. When you plot that graph, you select n by 2. So n जाणार असलं तुम्ही, suppose n 80 असा, जाल्यार n by 2 n 40 असा, जाल्यार n by 2 20 असतले. So 20 cumulative frequency असा पळय, थंयच्यान horizontal line ग्राफा पर्यंत व्हरपाची आणि drop a vertical. Vertical will fall at, let us say, 25. Here it falls at 25. Then 25 is the median. 25 is the median. It's so easy. Okay, you may be given a graph and check whether you understand this or not. Then how to find median? If you are given a graph of more than OGA or less than OGA, that again I will discuss tomorrow. Now only understand how to find the median. So cumulative frequency on y-axis and upper limit of class on x-axis. Two graphs are plotted. One is more than OGA and one is less than OGA. The point of intersection is taken and abscissa. Abscissa is nothing but x-axis. That is called the median. The median is x coordinate of point of intersection of both the ogive curves. We at E-Learning Career Academy are running classes for standard 9 and 10 in maths and science, and also for standard 11th and 12th in physics, chemistry, mathematics and biology in offline as well as online mode using memory techniques. Here are the links for joining these classes. These links are also given in the description of this video.